Opa! Olá, pessoal. Deixa eu, primeiramente, dar boa noite a todo mundo. Vou soltar aquele stories maroto para avisar a galera, para chegar, colar junto, tá? Primeiramente, quero agradecer a presença de todo mundo. Deixa eu só soltar os stories aqui. Tô ao vivo? Não ao vivo. Fala, pessoal. Vou começar a live agora, o AMA com a ZkLink. Tá? Eu e o Nil vamos estar aqui falando com vocês daqui a pouquinho não, agora. Então, já entra aqui no link do YouTube que a gente está lá, beleza? É o link que vai estar aqui, eu só tenho que copiar esse link. Deixa eu copiar o link. Perfeito, vamos lá. Linkzinho. Linkzinho do YouTube, área de transferência. Eu acho que é essa. Vamos ver. A gente vai descobrir agora, quando ele upar. Boa noite aí, Rocha Júnior, Túlio Fernandes, SFM, Evandro, Ravi, Ribeiro. Deixa eu só ver aqui. Acessar o link. É a minha live? É a minha live aí, ó. Tá tudo perfeito, tá? Minha live, tudo tranquilo. Ronaldo Santos, Milton Campos, Priscila Campos, Rafael Carvalho, José Fonseca, Johnny, Ícaro de Souza, TS, Evandro, todo mundo, Valdeci. É isso aí, galera. A live vai começar agora. Então, cara, pega aí pega o link e manda pra galera, entendeu? Eu tô com... Já vou até falar aqui, Anonymous, faz um favorzinho, cara, se você puder. A gente vai pegar a lista de perguntas e a gente vai colocar ela no chat privado. Esse aqui que a gente tem, tá? E aí a gente puxa ela. Mas, ó, o pessoal já tá aparecendo aí, ó. Vinícius, nome bonito esse teu, hein? Boa noite, Vinícius. Boa noite, Vinícius. Tamo junto. Bem, essa live vai ser em inglês, mas será legendada. Então, eu vou falar em inglês o tempo inteiro com o Neil, ele não fala português. Então, English it is. Tá? Nesse caso, depois a gente vai ter a legenda. Porém, eu peço a vocês que mandem as perguntas de vocês, porque perguntas enviadas na live, tá? Uma delas será selecionada para ganhar a whitelist. E quem enviar perguntas também concorre aqui. Eu vou deixar a critério do Anonymous. Ele vai escolher qual vai ser a pergunta aleatória da live que vai ganhar. Então, eu escolho uma, ele escolhe outra, tá bom? Então, mandem perguntas também. Óbvio, a gente tem as perguntas que já serão feitas, então guardem as perguntas de vocês para não mandar a pergunta repetida, entendeu? Então, eu vou... So, right now, I'm going to start speaking English because, well, Neil has to understand what I'm saying just as much as I have to understand what he's saying. And I'm going to bring him in right now. So, let's see. Here it is. Okay, Neil, everyone can see you right now. Victor Ford is already saying good evening for us.
Well, good evening to you. Good morning from me. It's 7 a.m. from where I am. I'm calling out from Singapore, and I'm really excited to be here. First of all, thank you, Vinny, for having me on the show. I'm looking forward to talk about ZkLink, and to the rest of the Terra Nova crew and community. It's good to meet you guys. I'm really excited to be here and to answer all of your questions about ZkLink.
Oh, great, amazing. Let me just pick some startup questions for us, because I think it's also nice for people to understand your background, the team background. So I believe the first question I would ask is, before we get into ZkLink and its innovations, is how about you give me some history from your background in both crypto and maybe your professional life, a little bit of context on that matter.
All right, all right. First of all, really happy to be here again, and maybe I could tell you guys how I got to crypto first around 2021, 2022 during the first DeFi summer, and that's when I read that there were a lot of people, I'm getting onto crypto and trading on these blockchains. So I thought to myself, what happens if I go ahead and check it? So I did, and next thing I know, absolutely fell in love with the tech. I was doing a lot of trading, and eventually I found myself telling everyone that like crypto is now my home. And throughout this time when I was in crypto, it's been a really colorful experience for me. I first started off as a trader, and then made some money. Then became an investor. Afterwards, I became a journalist, and now I'm working with ZkLink as the PR lead. So a little bit of history about ZkLink is that we've actually been building since early 2021, or rather, early 2021, and they came across like the paper about ZK, about ZK technology, right? So they decided, like we're gonna take a look at ZK because it's gonna be the future for blockchain. So we're gonna start building on it, and eventually they took a leap of faith because back in 2021, like everyone was talking about, how can I where can I stake my tokens, right? Everyone was just talking about L1s, and L2s were like the latest innovation, right? Now next thing you know, you've got like hundreds of L2s and hundreds of L1s right now. So these guys, they took a leap of faith. They studied a lot of they studied a lot of ZK technologies, especially Zcash, and eventually ZK-Link decided to take a leap of faith and said, we're going to go for it. And the initial results for the proof of concept was successful. It was promising. So they decided to double down, and now they've built out this really incredible infrastructure where we've managed to connect to all of the existing Ethereum ZK rollups, and and yeah, it's 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 quite amazing because ZkLink essentially is because it's a layer three that connects to multiple ETH layer twos, without really being its own like blockchain, right? It's more of like an infrastructure roll up. So but then if you're building on top of a layer three, you are connected to all of the layer twos that are hosted on that layer three. It's a little
Yeah.
bit hard to conceptualize, so I'm just going to say that we're like a ZK rollup or rollups, or
Okay.
like a blockchain for rollups, where we don't really own a blockchain, but we can connect you to multiple blockchains when you build on top of the layer three.
Yeah. I mean, it comes very close to the narrative that is really hot right now on the modular chains and also the layer trees, right? Because this is something my audience knows a lot, because I say this all the time. Like the modular chains and the layer trees are the path for mainstream adoption, because you need something built for a specific purpose with enough space, scalability, and everything. Because we saw what happened when the Bored Apes launched the other side NFT, and suddenly no one could make a single transaction on Ethereum because it was just too expensive. The gas was, I believe, the gas price was at 2,000 or something like this. So it was just impossible. And then we have layer twos that are having trouble when they run a single game on it. So in order to have a really good experience with blockchain for a mainstream company, you need to have a specific rollup built for them. Like you're gonna have a rollup built on top of ZkLink, for example, for a trading company that needs that information without like bottlenecks, without any anything else getting in front of it. So I understand the concept. It's really interesting, and it's one of the reasons why I personally invested in the project and why I talk about it so much. But coming back to the team right now, can you give us a little bit of background on the people that are not with us today? Like maybe so my CEO and the CO, the CMO, something like this, about what they have, like a little bit of history on them. Don't need to be anything very deep. Don't need in depth like a LinkedIn page. I don't need that. Just it's just nice to understand where everyone comes from.
All right, cool. So the CEO is Vince Young. Vince Young has been a in the blockchain space for a while now. He started off as a miner in the space, and together with his friend um, Evan Zhang, they've started out they've begun developing the tech team for ZkLink. So the team is primarily based out of China, of Shanghai. Um, we've got an office in Hangzhou, and that's where most of like the dev teams from. But on the marketing side, like we've got everyone from I think about 4 or 5 other countries.
Okay.
So, for example, I'm from Singapore. Yeah,
Amazing
and
place, by the way. Amazing place.
thank you. It's hot. It's
Well,
hot
I
right
live in Rio. Today is like if you go outside, you become a toast. So that's basically a daily life in Rio. So,
it's pretty similar, right? Yeah. So we're from I'm from Singapore. There's some other people we had someone from Europe before. We had someone from the US. So it's a very decentralized team when it comes to it, right? But in terms of like how how experienced is the team, like all I can say is that they're probably one of like the smartest minds I've worked around. They've been in the industry for a very long time. I think about a good 4 to 5 years, which in crypto was like maybe 40 to 50 years.
we have like 15 years of crypto. Like if you have 5 years of experience, you're already one third of the time that crypto exists. You're there. So yeah, I understand that it's a brand new industry, right? And what
Exactly.
is the team size, by the way, right now? Do you know like a little, maybe an estimate of the team size?
So we have a team size of just over 30.
Oh,
We're looking to
that's
expand this
nice.
team to an even larger size. If you're interested in we've got like I think maybe 2/3 of it would be in the development, and 1/3 of them are in the marketing team, mainly the marketing and the admin team. So if you're an investor looking at us, like you can understand that we're a very product oriented team, given like our allocation of staff. And if you are someone tuning in and interested in perhaps applying for ZkLink, we'd be very happy to have a chat, and you can find out more about our jobs available on our website.
Okay, so I'm gonna translate that to everyone right now. So, pessoal, eles estão contratando. Então, quem quiser aí, deve, coisa assim, ó, já entre em contato com eles que vai que vai dar tudo certo. Eles querem falar com vocês. So, now let's move into some questions that the community asked, and I believe that the first question, and it's a very uh, you know good question to start with, is what's the what is the difference that ZinkaLink have compared to the competition in the market? And actually, who are the competitors of ZkLink? Like, are you competing with other specific roll-ups companies, or competing with maybe oracles? Are you competing with what kind of company, like what are major uh, the major competitors, and also what sets ZkLink apart from them.
All right, thanks for the question. I think like the first like to start, do we have competitors in this space, right? Um, I think because as more developer teams build more niche products, it actually gets a little bit more difficult to find competitors. Just the other day, we were talking internally, like who would be the most like similar to our product, and we realized that there isn't many, right? And we even ask outside, like our 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 company, and the most recent people that we've spoken to were actually L2 Beat. If you guys don't know about L2 Beat, they are a source of truth for they're a website. They're a database of layer twos that are very popular in crypto, and they recently like placed ZkLink onto the website, so it's directly pulling in like data from our systems, right? And we asked them if there is any other competitors building a similar product like ours, and to our surprise, to our pleasant surprise, they've said like no, not to their knowledge, and we are in a way like we are a pioneer product here, right? So I think like maybe it's easier if I could explain to you like what sets us apart from the rest of them, right? So we're ZkLink. We are in trading-based infrastructure roll-up. We're a roll-up infra product, right? We've got two different type of products in our SDK, a layer 3 and a layer 2.5. So this layer 3 and layer 2.5 is like it's it's like a it's how when in terms of like protocol and architecture development, you choose your different settlement layers, and you would choose a layer 3 when you want to have maximum security, and you would choose a layer 2.5 when you want to have maximum connectivity to other chains. So this is really important because, as you mentioned rightly so, Vinny, that all of like eventually the rollups require very specific use cases, and rollups need to be extremely modular in the architecture so that they could fit uh, use cases that are niche, right? So by building an app rollup on ZkLink, you can tailor the architecture into um, very specific requirements, right? We've got the modular data availability, which is like your cloud blockchain. You might so you can actually add Celestia or Eigenlayer into your architecture when you build on ZkLink. Um, of course, like if you're interested in high performance dApps or high performance ZK dApps, you can build out a central limit order book exchange. You can build out an NFT marketplace. You can build out a game. So these are very different products which require very specific needs, right? And because we've got a modular architecture there in place for developers to customize their product, it allows a whole exciting bunch of system designs, which previously was not available to most
It,
developers.
I believe it's like the concept of super dApps that you bring, and also that image here, that video, that animation, whatever it is, it actually shows a little bit of what you're talking about, right? You pick what is useful for you, you swap it for anything that is like anything useless, you just take it out, put what is useful for you, and you build this super dApps, that's what you call it, on DeFi, real world assets, NFT marketplaces, and other kind of uh, uh, applications. So it's a multi-chain modular product I believe, right? So you can use it on
Yeah,
Celestia,
yeah,
you can
right.
use it on EVMs, you can use it on, I don't know, maybe at some point Solana. Uh, you're going to be able to run these dApps on different chains. And now it's kind of a very personal question that came up to my mind. Uh, if I'm rolling an app right now, it's multi-chain, I'm using ZkLink. Let's say I'm Coca-Cola, right? I'm doing my entire, let's say, supply chain using ZkLink. So I have a specific app that is rolling my supply chain, or maybe I'm just an exchange that happens to be running there. But at some point, we all know that it happened with Solana. At some point, the chain that I'm using, the main chain that I'm using, it's clogged, or maybe it goes offline. Am I able to shift that to a working chain, like, or is it like going right away? Do I have to, do anything else, or can I actually run it like in different chains at like the same time, in a way that I can make a redundancy, so if one chain fails, the other one catches up with the information. Like, I have to, in a layer three, I have to send the information that I have to the layer two or layer one, right? So I'm gonna send it to the, maybe to the Polygon chain, or maybe to Celestia, and then I'm gonna send it as well to ZkSync. So if Celestia goes offline for some reason that doesn't make any sense right now, but let's see, I don't know, a meteor came to the Earth, whatever it is, and then no more Celestia. Right now, can I shift to the other chain? Can I use that information from the other chain so my product doesn't go offline?
Right. Okay, so the short answer to that is yes. But like so it's really exciting because like this suddenly means that like the security that we thought about blockchain, um, like or rather like this layer three opens up both accessibility and security um, advantages to a lot of like other like existing chains out there, right? So I'm going to talk about two things, right? Because the first one, I will talk about what how layer three Nexus, how do we do this with the ZK proofs, and and then I'll break down like how layer threes connect to the other chains on the side, because because like I think like we as long as like you understand like two of these concepts, it's a lot easier to understand where how the dApp rollups come about, right? So
Okay.
because so ZK-Link is a ZK based product, right? Meaning that like because because it's a zero knowledge product, there is less computational power to verify transactions. Mainly because there is no need to talk about to know who the identity of the other person behind who is making the transactions, but you just need to make sure that the transactions are just correct. So by removing the identity side of things, you can tell the computers that you can tell the software that as long as the math checks out, the math is correct between chains, you can speed up the whole process. Now ZKP's like, zero knowledge proofs, because it's such like a more efficient proofing system, right? And it's more effective. You suddenly are able to create new system designs with this, right? So when you build on a and usually because ZK based products are built on top of Ethereum, they connect to a layer 2. So the layer 2 inherits all of like the securities from Ethereum, right? And then if you build on top of a layer 2 on top of a layer 3, the layer 3 receives the security properties of the layer 2 and back to Ethereum. So
Yeah,
it's a little bit, yeah. So it's like it might be a little bit difficult to conceptualize, right? But what this means is that the layer 3, by having that layer 3 intermediary between on the top, layer 2s can communicate with each other from Ethereum and the layer 3.
yeah.
And when they're communicating with each other, it suddenly becomes a much more connected network as opposed to a siloed blockchain.
Yeah.
And the design here is that when you have all these blockchains caught speaking to each other, you can really like talk about you can really tackle the problem of DeFi liquidity fragmentation. Um, when your debt requires liquidity from one chain, it can access it. But this one chain has not enough liquidity. It can access it from multiple chain through the layer 3, and and it doesn't just and it not only stops at liquidity. It also goes on to the security part of things. Um, so if let's say one DApp rollup that you've built on the layer 3 as its own sidechain fails, the other layer 2s and the sidechains which are connected to it can actually verify its last state and transactions.
So they act like this fail-safe mechanism, right?
Correct. So there are like a fail-safe mechanism to make sure that even if like the development team goes away the next day, right, but everything and the contract is still inside there, like the user funds are safe. And we did this POC, we did this like proof of concept earlier last year in Operation Dunkirk. You can check that out. But we did it, and we simulated a rug pull where the developers just left, and we got everyone to
Let me
try.
just calm down, everyone. Quando ele falou rug pull, ele falou só que eles simularam, tá? I'm just telling them to rug pull is a word that everyone is like afraid of hearing. So just giving them some context is not as bad. They simulated one. So what happened after that simulation?
Yeah, so yeah. The people that got in, they deposited their funds. We then we announced, we're going to switch off the support, and we wanted to check if everyone was able to take their funds out, and it worked. It worked really well because they eventually all of the users were able to take their funds out. Not a problem. I think we've over had like about 1,000 over people coming to
So
to
you actually protect them from rug pulls.
exactly.
That's
Exactly.
very interesting because suddenly you can demand projects to run on ZkLink for safety purposes. So the people can actually pressure these projects to, okay, if you have nothing to lose, if you're not afraid of anything, just run it on ZkLink and we'll be fine. That's pretty interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot safer because we use ZK. Again, it comes down to the architecture of ZK proofs, but essentially, yes, it's a lot safer when you build on ZK-Link. And apart from like the performance improvements, it's also very safe in terms of it's safe with the highest grade security, which is the properties from Ethereum on blockchain right now.
That's amazing. Another question that I have for you: what is the biggest difficult you find in the project right now? Because I believe you're gonna have to compete with other rollups right now. Um, the main issue that some modular chains and layer trees will face is that they need to convince people to move from layer one or layer two to a layer three or application based rollup. Right now, what is the biggest uh, concern you have on reaching that goal, and what do you think is going to be very difficult in 2024, that like not really difficult but a challenge, because it doesn't need to be difficult, it can be just complicated instead of difficult, right? If you want to build a software, you can have a simple software that is complicated because they have a lot of simple things instead of one major hard thing to do. So what are the challenges you're going to face in 2024 in order to achieve the goal of bringing people into ZkLink?
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be real with you guys. Like, it's a really competitive industry out there. Everyone's fighting for TVL. Everyone is fighting for attention in the space. So I think even if we weren't going to be building ZK-Link, there's just a lot of challenges, right, in crypto. Um, but I think the biggest thing that we have is actually like getting our users to be familiar with the layer three. It's educating them to learn more about the layer three, because if you go out there in general crypto and you start talking about things like layer three and modular architecture, they're gonna look at you and they're gonna think that you're crazy, right? so so I think that's one of like the biggest challenges for us, which is really just educating the broader crypto industry about our layer three, and telling them that it's a really cool product. We understand that we understand that it's going to take some convincing. It's going to be a little bit difficult to transfer and migrate from a layer two or a layer one into a layer three. So a lot of the efforts that we're currently doing right now is really just is tailored at educating people in the space. We intend to become a thought leader for the rest of crypto. So we've got one of the ways we're doing that is through our medium, through our blogs. We produce at least one article a week. We're trying to aim for maybe two, three, and they're all themed and circled around ZK-Link, ZK-Link and layer threes. So even
And
last, we just launched a report on exactly what's going on with the entire layer three landscape, right? We see who is building layer threes. We see who what kind of layer three products they're building inside. So we intend to be this like a thought leader for everyone, that they can refer to when it comes down to the layer three narrative.
it's this one, right?
Yeah, it's that
Mapping the
one.
layer three system. Okay, this
Yeah.
is an
So
interesting read for you guys, okay? Because we have projects we know, we talk about, and right now, I believe that anyone who wants to be part of the new wave of projects coming in, you have to understand what is a layer three. You have to understand what is a modular chain. I believe ZK-Link acts like an execution layer, right? But you can you can you ha- you don't have to use it as a layer three. You can use it as a layer two as well, like on top of Ethereum, for example.
yeah, a layer 2.5.
Yeah, so that's the layer 2.5, right? Because you have an execution layer and then you have a settlement layer, and then you have everything else that comes with Ethereum, that is data availability and the consensus, right? So
Yeah.
you can
Actually,
execute.
I can go back to that. The execution layer is the app rollup itself.
Yeah, it
So
is.
when yeah, so your app rollup, right? Like it's its own chain,
Yeah.
and you're just like putting it onto the settlement layer, which is the ZK layer 2.5 or the layer three.
Or may okay, so wait, now I got confused. You have the execution app. The execution layer is where you're running your app right now. You have settlement layers already in the market, like Optimism, Arbitrum. They are all settlement layers, and you have data availability with Ethereum and the consensus right there as well. So if you want, you can execute and settle things on ZK-Link or you can just execute and let the settlement for the layer choose, right?
Yes.
It's getting confused, right?
It's getting a little bit tricky, right?
Yeah, it
Um,
is. One
so,
second. Let me just
so like I'm glad that you brought this up because it's complex, right?
yeah,
Um, that's
let
why
me
you will
try
want
to
to build on ZkLink actually, because ZkLink is already connected to all of these other chains. So
right.
instead of like understanding the complexity, all you have to do is just build on top of the infrastructure, and you will automatically connect it to all of the users in these chains, and also in these other roll ups and and, uh, and layers. So ZK-Link Nexus, right, acts as the intermediary between all these other uh, all these other settlement layers.
Okay, so let me just translate a few things for them. And here have data availability, and we also have the consensus. We don't need to translate consensus, it's almost the same thing in Portuguese. So what happened is we can have the settlement layer here and ignore Arbitrum, right? So let me just, okay, way
Hmm.
better. So we have here is the standard thing, right? We have ZkLink running the SuperDex, and then the SuperDex is of course connected on Arbitrum right now because that's the settlement layer, and Arbitrum is connecting its settlement layer on Ethereum that is bringing the data and everything else. So what I ask is, can I go and just ignore this and sorry, ignore this, bring the settlement to ZkLink and just ignore Arbitrum and act almost like layer two, right? Because you cut the layer two uh, midman here and make ZkLink the 2.5 that you call, that is mostly a layer two, but uh, right now you have everything in one layer. Of course, the benefits of doing this is that it's not only more um, less expensive because you go to Arbitrum to settle things, but it's just a question if it's possible, right? Because this is what some of these rollups that tell people about do. For example, I'm going to give you an example of Cartesi. I did an interview with them recently, and they kind of do like this. They go, okay, I don't want to use Arbitrum. Okay, just go here and use only these guys. You want to use Arbitrum? Okay, just go here and implement it again. That's basically the question that I'm asking. Is it possible to just run ZkLink on top of Ethereum and you know yeah, that's a question actually.
It's okay. It's possible. The math and the architecture behind it's a little bit complicated,
Okay.
right? But it's definitely possible. The complication here is that it requires both a layer 2.5 and a layer 3 at the same time.
Okay. So it's not built for this. It's possible, but it's not the intent to be used like this, right?
Yeah, it's not the most efficient way possible, right? Especially when it comes if you're thinking about just developing an architecture that is very niche. You want to make it as efficient as possible.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of ZK-Link, right? Because you can actually make it possible. You can have a layer 2.5, which speaks to all of the other chains, and then the layer 2.5 can talk to the layer 3, which is an exclusively a ZK based solution, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So if let's say you're building on Arbitrum, you would connect to ZK-Link with, or rather, like you connect to Arbitrum using the layer 2.5, and then whatever happens in the layer 2.5 on Arbitrum goes back to layer 2.5, and then it speaks to the layer 3 nexus, and then layer 3 nexus can actually goes back to Ethereum.
Okay, yeah, I understand now. I understand what's happening there. Let me move to the next question, because otherwise, people who follow me, they know I go live stream for 3 hours straight. Like, I have no stop. So unless I cut myself from the questions, because I love to ask these questions, I love to educate my audience. I believe I have to move forward to the next question, that is about the security, because the white paper mentions security challenges in cross-chain transactions. Could you explain more about how ZkLink addresses these concerns and maintains security in cross-chain transactions?
Okay. Earlier on, I mentioned before there was ZK proofs, right? The ZK proof, and I briefly touched on about how like states and transactions are validated on ZKs. But I think first, maybe from like a top-down perspective, right? Like it's important to talk about the information flow with ZK-based products. You have the Ethereum layer, which requires a side chain or a rollup to make transactions on the side, which then translates back into Ethereum, right? Then you've got a layer 3 on top of the layer 2, which speaks to not only this one rollup, but also to many other ZK rollups in the middle. And that eventually goes back down into the Ethereum layer, right? So because it's all Ethereum based, like it follows the rules of Ethereum, it's in this way, it's whole state and synchronized with this architecture. In fact, like when it comes to like rollups, right? Like the ZK based architecture is known as the best possible like solution for side chains in scaling Ethereum, right? Mainly because it's just very cheap and very very fast. Yeah. Um, so because we're layer 3, we inherit the security from Ethereum, right? We're also be able to or rather like as these like chains are speaking to each other,
Yes.
we've implemented uh, our own proof verification system, which is still a ZK proof, right? But it's our own that we made specifically so that communication between multiple chains is possible. And we introduced this thing called a multi-application recursive proof verification technology. It's a whole mouthful, right? But what it really does is that it's a proof system that makes sure that all of the off-chain states
Okay.
and on-chain verification times are accurate, and the on-chain verification times are reduced while also reducing gas expenses. So the concept of like of like a ZK of ZK proofs is in play, right?
Yeah.
You have layer 3 speaking to layer 2, speaking to layer 1s, and like as they're communicating with each other, even if something happens to the network, all of the transactions in there are secure, right? Nothing's gonna change. It cannot be altered. It cannot be changed. So so when we have this, right, when there are like a multiple proofs on the when there are multiple like rollups using the proofs on the layer 3, these guys all act as like verified contracts as well at the same time. So like the more people that build on ZkLink and the other layer 2s are connected to ZkLink, actually the more secure the network becomes.
Okay, because you have different places sending information, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that makes sense. Yeah, that's how you solve the multi-chain security issue, I guess.
yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
And
it's
yeah.
complicated because I have to draw that. I mean, I have ADHD, so I draw things in my mind. I'm like, just have a balloon here connecting to this and that. So I'm trying to picture the whole frame. I'll probably have something for the audience later, like a picture or something like this when I build this, because it's a complex thing to explain, but when you explain, it makes a lot of sense. Like the more connections you have, the more security you have, because you can rely on the other chains, security systems, using your own system that you built for this in particular. Whoa, that's a very that's a very big phrase, but well, it is complicated. If it wasn't complicated, I mean, it wouldn't be such an interesting project to analyze and also understand. I mean, it would be like, I mean, if it's too basic, it's probably too similar to everyone else. So
Yeah, yeah.
let
So
me.
like I like to joke with people that if you want to read the ZkLink docs, it's a very long document. So make sure you drink it with a glass of wine, or it's gonna take a while.
Yeah. So let's go to the final question that I have here, and then we're gonna move to the audience questions. They're asking questions there. We're gonna pick one or two questions that will have the whitelist spots for the CoinList sale. Let's go with the last one from the list that I have right now. That is how ZK-Link intend to eliminate the need for bridges between chains, and what can you say? Uh, okay, what way can it reduce the risks, fees, and complexity of these transactions? So let me ask again: how does ZK-Link intends to eliminate the need for bridges between chains, and in what way can this reduce the risks, fees, and complexity of these transactions? Because I mean, Vitalik already said many times that bridges are a, a very dangerous place to be. If you're at the wrong time on the wrong place, things can go pretty bad. So how does ZK-Link deal with this?
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question, right? Because it's very hard to think about it, right? But in the layer three, so I'm just gonna give like a perfect picture, right?
Okay.
So 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 like layer ones are where all the data, the infrastructure data is stored. Layer twos are where all the computations are stored, but they're all siloed. Layer three is where all of these siloed layer twos are communicating with each other. So when you build on top of a layer two, you're in that silo. But when you build on top of a layer three, you're connected to all of the other layer twos. So as a user, when you're in a layer three environment, as you are speaking to all of these other chains, um, as you're speaking to all these other chains, it is very you basically have all of this information that's talking to you at the same time. So that gives you how do I let me think. When all of these chains are speaking to you at the same time, right? You have all this information being processed on top of the layer three. So from a user's perspective, if you're in a layer three environment, you have access to all of like the liquidity and the assets in all of these other layer two chains. So if say you deposit your so because of this, and because we also use ZK proofs as part of the underlying technology, the system design changes again, the user experience changes, and as a user, you can enjoy really like fast transactions between all of these other chains, and also gasless transactions between the chains. At the same time, also the security from the other like ZK based rollups. So if you deposit your funds on Polygon ZK EVM, you can actually switch to ZK Sync era on the layer three, and you can actually withdraw your funds instantly. There is no bridge time, there is no wait time, because all of these computational data are done on each of its own chain, and then it's verified using the ZK proof.
Okay. So I'm right now trying to paint the picture for people who are listening right now, and it's in Portuguese, but I'm going to translate to you. This is like a condo. So you have multiple apartments in a building, okay? And basically, the apartments are the silos, right? They are the layer twos. You have the apartment 101, that's where Polygon lives. And he's kind of a jackass because he wants to be different from anyone and use his own coin instead of the Ethereum. So he's the one that is rich because people have to buy from him. This is Arbitrum. This is, let's see, whatever, Optimism. And this one is my dear Mattis. Okay, so they all have apartments. Here have the information. So when you want to bridge, basically what you have is this intercommunicator right now. It's where everyone has in their homes, like they can call the other apartment and say, hey, I need information from you. So the layer tree actually helps them to verify with all of them the information that is being sent from each one of the apartments. Like, hey guys, Polygon told me that we're going to have a party tonight. No, actually it's tomorrow, but he doesn't like you, so he said it was today, so you think it's not going to happen. So this is a scam. The information is invalidated. But if Polygon wants to invite me to the party and everyone else says, okay, it's fine, we verified the information, the party is going on, is that what happens to the bridge thing? Like, I want to send funds to Polygon, and then everyone else has the power to help me secure that transaction because I verify in multiple places, or is it something different? Like, hey, Polygon, I'm gonna send fund. Maybe the communication goes like this: like they communicate only the two layers, like Polygon and Arbitrum, are talking, but they have this intercommunicator that is the layer three to make sure that all the information that is here and here matches and the math matches. Did I say anything wrong here, or am I on the lead?
Oh no, Vinny, I think you should come and work for ZkLink because you did it very well.
Yeah, I'm certified in user experience, so user experience is part of what I do. So I try to translate everything to everyone in mundane things. Like I want them to
Add
understand how this
on.
works.
I will add on as well that if Polygon, so like the thing is that in respect to the diagram, right? If if Polygon, Arbitrum, Optimism, and Metis says that there is a party going to happen, the thing is that they don't have to know who is going to attend to the party. They can just say that yes, the party
So
is
it's the
going.
costume party. Nobody knows who's wearing the costume, right? Everyone
Yeah,
is secret there. Okay.
exactly.
So you don't need to know who is going to the party. I mean, Polygon, Arbitrum, Optimism, Metis are like the hosts of the party. They are like the infrastructure. They are paying for the snacks. They are paying for the drinks. But anyone who shows up there is completely anonymous unless they decide to not be anonymous, or like they have to always be anonymous. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
it is. Yeah,
Okay, so that's how it works. So at some point the conversation became about parties and things, but I believe we made it very clear to everyone right now. So let's go. I have questions from the audience. I'm gonna ask Anonymous, can you please just click on the question that you think it's a good one? It's gonna show up here. I'm gonna see it there. Okay. And you can click on the message, like the message from MQL that said, let's go, let's fucking go, bro. That's it. Like the rockets and everything. That's how we move it.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna have to find one question here. You can also pick one because they have like English questions. So if you find anyone that you think it's good to answer, like one of the things that I don't think people ask, what is the native token of ZkLink? Are you gonna use Ethereum for the transactions, or are you gonna use the ZkLink token for transactions? Like, because I said that Polygon is like the different guy. Polygon and Metis, they're like we want to use our own tokens. Arbiter and Optimism are like the weird guys. They want to use their own, but for them, these are the weird guys because they decided to go against the whatever. I want
I,
to know what is the how ZK-Link works on that matter.
we have our own ZKL token. We just actually just launched it over the weekend.
You have to buy
Uh,
it.
yeah, you guys. I mean, I can't
Profit.
really say that, but like all I can say is that we are having a community token sale on CoinList right now.
Yeah,
And if you want to get on this early, I would consider taking a look at it and really just understanding the protocol, because it's always good to understand what you're buying, right?
yeah,
But yeah, like we have a coin list. But as for now, like the traction on that's been pretty good. We've had about 88,000 people apply for the whitelist to buy the token. So that's quite a big milestone for us, especially in this current market when just over in the starting of the week when Bitcoin just dumped really hard, right? And for us, like it tells us that like people, like our product is actually validated in the market. There is a demand for something like this, and they want to see it happen to come to reality. So we're really excited about that. And and also, like I can tease that because of how quick and fast our ecosystem is building out, it's and and because of how big it's building out, like people have a very bullish sentiment on ZK-Link. We've got about 90 different ecosystem partners all available right now. We are connected to 17 app and dApp rollups. 17 chains and roll-ups. And also we are backed by about just under 20 different backers, including Polygon Ventures and Huobi Ventures, as well as one of like the bigger names in there. Solana Ventures is in there too, Big Brain Holdings. So like even like yourself, Terranova. So it's a pretty interesting project, which I would really recommend that everyone here take a look at and consider taking a look at the CoinList deal page.
yeah. I mean, I told everyone to study that because I'm very strict on the questions that I pick. So people have to have a good question. It needs to show that you studied the project because CoinList does this. They say, okay, let's see if you studied the project. What is ZK-Link? And then they have the questions. So this is good because I believe everyone needs to understand where they're putting their money on. Okay. Otherwise, we're all going to just, degen on Pepe and miss ZK-Links, right?
Yeah, yeah. We gotta be an informed buyer, right?
Yeah, you have. I mean, if you're buying stocks, you don't want to buy stocks like. I mean, I'm gonna have the worst example because of Reddit, but no one wants to buy GameStop because GameStop is not a profitable business anymore. People did this to pump and rack the funds and yay, we have internet, we are cypherpunks or whatever. But honestly, it's not a good business. So you're not gonna buy them if you look at the business itself. So that's why they need to study this because it's not just because I'm an investor of ZkLink that they should invest in ZkLink. Of course, I am someone that they trust because they understand that I bring a lot of expertise. I've been in crypto since 2011, but right now, what I want to build is this culture of learning what you're putting your money on. So while you guys register on CoinList, okay, for the whitelist is closed right now. sorry if you didn't, but you already have the public sale there. You're gonna have to go to the page and read about the project. I encourage you to read about the project, because one information that is very nice is that the ZkLink team, they did some raises, right? They got money from investors like me, like Big Brain Holdings, and of course Coinbase. And the prices that you have on the public sale are better than some of the investors that joined later got to pay. And that's because they want to reward the community that they built and that has been so supportive to them. So this is the main thing that you have to take in mind. Someone really, really big paid more for a token than you're gonna pay for the token. So if you don't trust my opinion, if you don't trust your own opinion, just see how these guys perform so far in the world of crypto, and if they are very, very rich or not. And then you're gonna see if maybe they have a good due diligence team to understand projects, and well, you can make some decision based on who else invested. So let's go to the question. Did you pick a question, Anonymous? I don't know if you did. One from the audience. I can search and see if I find any big one. Okay. Let's see. Okay. How does enhance efficiency in rollups, especially in spot trading, derivatives, and FTs? He already said that. Uh,
Maybe we could talk about the ZKL tokenomics, since we
just
just
click
arrived.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Did anyone ask about this?
yeah, like C Ribeiro.
Okay,
It's
just
7
click
a.m.
on his question, because we're gonna you can click there and it's gonna show up here. Just click on the
Uh,
question.
I'm clicking, but it's not happening.
Oh,
Nothing's
really?
happening. Yeah.
Okay. Let me just go. I see who he is right now. Next is an Origin Solutions, ZK multi-state. Okay, tokenomics here. So how does ZKL tokenomics encourage provers and roll-up developers participation through proof generation fees and infrastructure licensing?
Yeah. Good question for this one, right? Especially since we are talking about the coinless sale, right? And you want to know what ZKL is going to be used for. So because there's going to be a proof of, so like because we use proofs, because we use ZK proofs, there's going to be a need for um, there's going to be a need for validators to actually provide computational power to power the proof. So the ZkLink token acts as a source of reward in exchange for the computational power for rollup developers to generate proof for the entire network. So now let's talk about like gasless fees, like gas fees, right? So the same architecture as here is in play. Like if you want your transaction to be prioritized, you can increase the gas fee from the from the dApp side. So what happens is that now you have, and when you think about multiple dApp rollups building on top of the same platform, and they are doing transactions at the same time, you're going to want to create like a you're going to have some inefficiency here, right? You're going to have like people always like spending more money, paying higher fees for gas in order to prioritize their transactions. So to facilitate that, we are introducing proof a proof auction market where like where the bigger validators are able to facilitate the transactions at a higher price, at a price which everyone is okay with. So it does two things, right? It makes sure that everyone is contributing at a very at everyone is contributing it has reach a consensus into what level of gas they're willing to pay, and at the same time, it gives incentives to the new validators to generate proofs for the ZkLink network. And also because I can't believe I didn't talk about this, the infrastructure licensing. Um, yeah. So ZKL is like so ZkLink is really interesting because if you're a developer and you build on one dApp, right? You're gonna want you also on one rollup or one blockchain. You're gonna want to do multi-chain development, right? So we can actually facilitate this using APIs on the ZkLink SDK. So what would take you like weeks and months to understand a new language and deploy on the other chain, you can simply complete it in 3 to 4 days, and it's as easy as connecting an API to your dApp, and you are instantly connected to the other rollup and chain.
Let me try to understand. It's more like a compiler. Like I do it here, and it will compile the code to the other chains, or is it more like Docker, where I have this doc, and I just plug it in on the chain through API or something like this? Because let me tell you
Yeah.
where this comes from. Because
The
I
the
interviewed the Cartesi guys earlier, and they will have this kind of Docker solution where you build the app or maybe the template for your app in a place, and then you can use it everywhere. You just connect it everywhere, and it's done. But it doesn't seem to be the same thing. It seems to be like more like a compiler. Like you write the code in Python, and it's gonna be compiled to maybe Solidity or whatever it is through your network. Or am I very wrong right now and just confusing everyone?
it's a mixture of both.
Okay.
It's a mixture of both actually. We've got the best of both worlds. Your dApp rollup is can work like a doc. Your dApp rollup works like a Docker. We provide templates for very complex and difficult dApps.
Which speeds up everything, right? Like I want to build a DEX, and you want to build a DEX, and we both go to ZkLink, and we have the Docker there for the template of a DEX. So now it's a matter of how I'm going to build mine and how I'm going to build yours. But still, we already advanced a lot of time in development, right? You don't have to build the entire infrastructure. Okay, move on. We'll go ahead.
And then you can take the dApp rollup and you can deploy it onto and just connect to multiple chains, right? Using the infrastructure with an
Okay.
API.
Yeah, because
So
they
you
all
can,
integrate together, right?
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So if let's say like if you're on Stocknet and you code in Cairo, right?
Yeah.
You code in Cairo, you deploy on ZkLink, you code in Cairo, you connect to Cairo, and then let's say you want to you push into let's say Polygon ZK EVM. Sorry, what language does Polygon ZK EVM use? You familiar?
What? Sorry? Ask
What
again.
language does Polygon ZK EVM use?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't go too in depth into the tech. I go at some point and I'm like, okay, this is where I go. It's too much tech for me. I don't know what languages, but it's probably I mean, wouldn't it be Solidity or something like this?
I'm thinking as well, but like it's yeah, so it's Solidity and JavaScript, right? So
Yeah.
you can code in Cairo, and then you connect to a ZK-Link API, and suddenly your
Cairo
app
code works on
is
Solidity.
in Solidity. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, simple like that. Man, this is awesome
cool.
because
Super
that's gonna make it easier for everyone. Like that's what I'm saying. The modular chains, the specific, the app specific basic rollups that we're seeing surge in the market with projects like ZkLink, they allow us to actually speed up the process to develop an app. We can deploy everywhere, anywhere. Like as long as they support the chain, you can deploy it there. So uh, this is something that I've been talking about for over 2 years now, Neil. So I was kind of ahead of my time back then, talking about the modular and how this would actually improve the user experience for developers. Because I believe one of the biggest challenges you're going to face is finding developers to code on top of ZkLink, because now you have competition with other multi-chain projects or maybe modular chains. But it will maybe it will be easier for you guys because you are going to a very specific market. Like, you're targeting a little bit more on the DeFi side for quick transactions, quick information, quick everything, and not like we do everything. You can do everything, but you have a little bit of focus. Am I right or wrong on this?
Oh, we want to do everything, but the focus now is for DeFi.
Yeah,
One of the
because
things, so we talked about templates earlier.
yeah.
We are actually going to be launching very soon a template for a central limit order book. For those of you guys who develop, like this is not by no means it's not an easy application to build, but we've just done it, and we'll be releasing that integration soon, so you guys can watch out for that in our ecosystem news.
Okay. So, okay, I have a good one here. I have a good one here. This question comes from Junior. Okay. And let me just put it here. Can you elaborate on the partnerships or collaboration your projects are pursuing right now to enhance its ecosystem and utility? Because you have partners, not only the investors, but you also have connections with projects. How are you working on this, and what are you seeking right now? Like, what kind of partner are you looking for, and what are the ones that you have that stand out for a specific reason?
Hmm. Um, I think like over in the overarching partnerships that we're interested in collaborating with is we just want to be connected to more chains. We want to really build out this like uh, decentralized landscape for ZK-Link. So currently, right now, we've got about 17 connections to blockchains and rollups. We want to increase that to maybe hopefully 30 by the end of this year, maybe even more than that. So that's always going to be something which we want to look at, right? These kind of things take time, but at the same time, on like the smaller note of things, we're we're integrating a lot of partnerships for the quality of life kind of like improvements, right? Especially when it comes down to wallets. We recently did a integration with OKX wallet. So it's going to be a very big. It's a big thing because OKX brings so many users to the platform. We've got that. We also want we are also integrating with smaller type of protocols that helps out with like the signing of the signing of application uses, like we've also got we've also got an Oracle coming in to facilitate this ecosystem. So anything, because we want to build a whole infra, right? We have to have as many like partnerships as we can in order to create a really 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 strong product. So we are hoping if you guys in the audience are from the crypto industry, feel free to reach out to me or to anyone of us from ZkLink, and I'll be happy to take a look and see how we can integrate together.
Right now, and that's a good one for them. Are you, because you may not be on that moment right now, but are you looking for maybe making an ambassador program, or maybe having someone that speaks Portuguese to translate stuff for you, or are you looking to build a community in other languages? Something that maybe fit the maybe someone in the chat can be a fit for you. Is not, I mean, you can always say that you're not looking at this right now, because I understand that you have to
No,
focus
no,
on.
no. We're totally looking for it. I'm glad you brought it up. We have an ambassador program called the ZkLink Pioneer.
Okay,
Yeah, check it out on our website.
Pioneer. Okay, the ZkLink Pioneers program. Let me just put my screen right here. Ok, so I'm going to speak em português real quick. Pessoal, é o seguinte, isso aqui é o programa de embaixadores da ZkLink, para quem está interessado, tá bom? Olha, eles estão procurando membros da comunidade, entusiastas de mídias sociais, né, pessoal de referral e tal. O que vocês vão fazer, como contribuir com a comunidade, e você, né, ganha recompensas em tokens, reconhecimento, oportunidade de trabalhar, né, na core DAO da ZkLink, tá bom? Acesso exclusivo, né, a DAO principal da ZkLink. Então, você aplica neste formulário aqui, o site, né? Obviamente, você vai ter que entrar no blog.zk.link, né? Que é o Medium. Então, você vem aqui, ó, clicou aqui, abre o site, vem aqui, ó, ou Pioneer.
PIO. PINER. Yeah.
Pioneer. Ah, man, I searched in the entire thing. 1 second. It's not even close. No, it is close. Yeah. So the Pioneer program, and you go and you register. So, você vai, registra aqui e tenta. Tem muita gente. O Irlan, que é um cara que eu conheço muito legal, ele trabalha com a Waze, com a Cartese. A ZkLink é um projeto muito interessante que eu acho que pode valer a pena. Você traz eventos para o Brasil, ajuda eles a trazer assim, desenvolvedores e, obviamente, você é recompensado por isso, tá? Então, é uma forma de você estar dentro do ecossistema. So, it's a way to be inside the ecosystem. The guys, the Binance. Well, as soon as they can, I expect. I mean, I want Binance, but I also want the other chains. Like OKX is big, man, and they're already integrated. So when OKX is the best question?
Hopefully soon, right?
hopefully soon. Yeah. For those who do not know, they can't disclose exchanges. Okay, that's we're just talking and joking around. They can't disclose exchanges. I'm not gonna ask them to do that. One thing that you know is that there's gonna be a token sale on CoinList. So if CoinList is one of the exchanges, yeah, they'll probably be listed there. But the rest, right now, wait for maybe Uniswap or something like this. But after this, it's probably better to just take a look at their social media and everything else and be aware of when they're releasing stuff.
Yeah, I've got you. Check out our roadmap.
And there's no airdrop. Is there an airdrop?
No, our roadmap.
Oh no, yeah, you can check the roadmap. I'm asking because Iki just said when airdrop.
All I can say to this is that we for legal issues, like we cannot talk about an airdrop. We also refrain from using the word airdrop. But all I can say is that you would want to get this. You will want to get on the ZkLink Explorer whitelist. That's 100% sure because that's a way that we can reward our.
So guys, I'm going to speak in Portuguese again. Então, ele não pode dizer que vai ter um airdrop, não é uma palavra que ele usa, tá bom? Mas o que ele pode dizer é que se talvez você usar o ZkLink Explorer, talvez você tenha alguma coisa ali no futuro. É meio nebuloso. So basically what I'm saying is that we can't say it's going to be an airdrop because there's no way we're going to say that, but maybe if you use the ZkLink Explorer, at some point something nice can happen. We never know. So yeah, for those who use the chain, for the users, maybe you're gonna have something different. I imagine. Is the company in Singapore right now?
The company is based out of Hangzhou. Our main office is in Hangzhou in China.
Okay, that's the reason then. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, some countries are having to deal with a lot of stuff. Like I invest in projects that have some connections with the Silicon Valley. So right now, every single Silicon Valley project comes with a 1-year cliff. And I'm like, why? And it's purely because of regulations. I'm like, oh, regulators, I love you so much. Oh. But, well, I want to thank you for coming in here today. Thanks for...
Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. I mean, it's the least I can do. I love the project. I'm an investor, and I believe more people got to know you better. And this is the first AMA that I've done in years, and actually the first one that is being made in video. So that's the first live stream AMA I do. I mean,
Well, I'm
yeah.
so happy to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I think it was great. It was a fun one. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, man. Look, everyone, it's time to say good morning to Neil, but good night to us. I'm going to ask you something. Pessoal, fica aqui depois da live, que a gente ainda vai bater um papo. So I'm asking them to stay after you leave so we can chat more on live stream. You can leave whatever you want, but do you have a final message for them?
Yes, I do. Make sure you follow us on socials. Make sure you follow us on Discord. We've recently made some really cool announcements. So check out on that. And if you guys are on Twitter, you can help me rate the pinned posts, and that will be really helpful for that. And yeah, thank you guys for having me here, and I appreciate my time spent with you guys. So
Okay.
Hopefully, good evening.
Thanks, Neil. We talk later then. Happy to have you here. You can disconnect at any point. Just click on the final. I mean, just on. You can close the screen if you want. It's easier this way. Okay. See you later, man. Talk to you.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye. Ok. Falamos em português agora. Português. Tem 46 pessoas aqui. Vamos falar em português agora. Tá tudo certinho. Vocês gostaram? Isso foi bom para vocês? Me deem o feedback. Eu sei, muito obrigado a todo mundo que está aqui, que não entendeu bulhufas do que foi dito. Vou fazer o melhor que eu posso para traduzir isso o quanto antes para vocês. Tá bom? Eu quero trazer mais projetos para falar e mais pessoas para falar. Um dos meus desafios, né, e eu já passei por isso, eu posso convidar algumas pessoas muito ilustres do mercado, que eu conheço, e que vocês iam tipo, meu Deus do céu, sabe? Só que eu nunca fiz isso por não ter ainda aquela audiência grande e tal, né? E aí eu vou pedir para vocês, se puderem compartilhar esse vídeo. Cuidado, não faz igual o cara lá que mandou um monte de grupo que foi banido, tadinho, para você não ser banido. Mas você pode falar, pessoal, teve essa live aqui, quem conhece ZkLink? O cara fez uma live inteira aqui, vai traduzir, e, pô, quem quiser conhecer o projeto, vai estar na CoinList, fica à vontade, entendeu? Não precisa virar e falar, só jogar o vídeo lá e correr, senão os caras vão te banir dos grupos, tá? Mas eu tenho vontade de trazer muita gente aqui, eu tenho vontade de trazer a Natália Melin, que é a mãe do Vitalik, e uma das fundadoras da Metis, o próprio Vitalik, talvez, mas assim, é mais difícil. Porque ele é muito mais gênio, assim, tipo, num ponto que eu não consigo acompanhar, às vezes, o que ele fala, tá? Mas eu quero ver se eu trago o Kyle, da Page, eu quero ver se eu trago também algumas pessoas, tipo, eu tenho um amigo que vocês provavelmente já ouviram falar dele, que ele foi do Big Brother, que é o Patrick Barbosa, e ele tem um projeto de cripto, que é a Match Chain. Quero trazer ele aqui para falar da Match Chain para vocês. Quero que mais convidados de fora venham falar. E aí realmente eles vão falar em inglês e eu quero, né? Eternal podia dar por lista. Cara, então, já temos os vencedores, tá? Caraca. Peraí. Que o Anonymous marcou umas questões aqui. Calma aí. Júnior DBK. Entra no grupo do Telegram, marca o Anonymous, fala, oi, eu sou o Júnior, não sei o quê, eu quero a whitelist. Marca o Anonymous lá, arroba, aí como começar a escrever Anonymous já vai aparecer. E o C. Ribeiro também, tá bom? Lembrando que se você já ganhou um acesso à whitelist, você não pode ganhar outro, tá? Então, se algum de vocês já foi sorteado que era do VIP, tá bom? Não pode, a gente seleciona outra pessoa. Já avisa aí. Fui eu, tomei para dentro. Como assim? Não entendi. Ah, tá. Essa aqui. Não tenho como, a gente não tem como liberar o whitelist para todo mundo. Nos próximos AMAs, eu quero trazer sempre uma premiação do time para as pessoas, sabe? Para poder fazer aquela coisa, sabe? Uma whitelist para uma public sale, ou então tu vai, sei lá, tu vai receber um mini airdropzinho de token, alguma coisa do tipo, só para que a gente tenha incentivo para as pessoas estudarem os projetos, aprenderem sobre os projetos, porque eu entendo que para muita gente, né, a gente, cara, tem outras coisas para fazer na vida. Pô, o cara tá voltando, tem gente que tá voltando no busão e tá assistindo a live, eu agradeço muito. É importante eu entender que também é valioso o tempo de vocês e eu quero, assim como eu dou muito valor para o tempo dos convidados, eu quero dar valor para o tempo de vocês, tá bom? Mas eu vou ficar muito feliz se vocês puderem compartilhar essa live, joga ela nos grupos, dá like aí, se você quiser, no vídeo, para dar aquela força, tá bom? Segue o canal, tá? Compartilha no Twitter, se você tiver seguidor, manda pro teu influencer favorito e fala, olha, conversa com esse cara aqui, esse cara é legal, que isso aumenta a minha audiência e potencialmente aumenta o meu alcance para falar com essas pessoas, tá bom? Não que eu precise de muito alcance para falar com algumas, eu falo mais porque a gente já tem uma relação de muitos anos. Mas assim, uma coisa é eu falar com a Natália porque eu investi no projeto dela. Outra coisa é eu falar com o CEO da Celestia, que é um cara que eu não converso. Entendeu? E se eu quiser trazer o cara para falar, entendeu? Eu preciso dessa moralzinha de vocês. Tá bom? Pessoal, muito obrigado, tá? Por comparecerem na live. Eu fico muito feliz. Essa provavelmente foi a live que eu mais tive audiência, né? Eu realmente não costumo fazer muito. Tá? Vou trazer o Satoshi, vou sim, pô. Vou trazer o Satoshi. Inclusive, ele está aqui com vocês, Augusto Bax. Não. Pode Cripto, já rolou aqui. Foram 2 pessoas que ganharam, porque elas mandaram perguntas aqui na live. Não se preocupem, gente. Eu vi as perguntas em português, tá? Não foi marmelada, não. Eu vi as perguntas em português. É porque, realmente, a pergunta do ecossistema foi muito interessante. E a pergunta que falava justamente do licensing, eu falei, caraca, era isso, cara. Tava faltando uma pergunta de licensing, sabe? Para a gente poder linkar as coisas. Então, Ribeiro, se você ainda não recebeu, se você não é do VIP, você não tem a whitelist, manda lá mensagem, marca o pessoal. Ajuda a gente a ganhar a alocação aí. Então, cara, olha só, já falei para vocês, tá? Vocês têm que entrar lá no site, ó, entra no site da coinlist.co/ZkLink, tá? Você pode registrar, você não pode aplicar para a whitelist já foi, a whitelist já era, essa aqui já acabou, entendeu? Você vai clicar aqui e tá aberto ainda, e vai, corre, corre. Eu acho que eles erraram isso aqui, cara. Corre e aplica, tá bom? Se não der, tu só vem aqui e registra. Clica aqui, você vai registrar para venda da comunidade. Você não vai estar na whitelist. Mas, mano, tu já tá com tudo para poder participar, sacou? Faça o QIC, faz tudo. Se você tiver com o QIC demorando muito, cria uma outra conta e faz o QIC. Confia em mim. Cria outra conta, faz o QIC e vai. Porque eu tenho conta a minha conta principal da CoinList não tem QIC, tá bom? É o inferno, eu sei. Então tu vai aqui, registra, tá? Para todo mundo ter chance, eu não registrei em whitelist, eu tô de boa, eu já sou investidor do projeto, tá bom? Eu entrei lá atrás, então eu tô realmente eu paguei muito barato no token. Mas assim, quer ver? Tem o CryptoRank aqui. Não sei se a ZkLink tá aqui, mas assim, tá, com certeza tá. ZkLink tá aqui, ó. A ZkLink, ó, Coinbase Ventures investiu no round de 250 milhões de dólares, tá? Vocês vão estar pagando o round de 150 milhões de dólares. Ou seja, para cada $1 que esses caras pagaram no token, vocês estão comprando por 60 centavos. Entendeu? E essa galera não é gente pequena, não é gente boba. Big Brain Holdings, Coinbase Ventures, essa galera sabe o que eles estão fazendo. Eu entrei, obviamente, nesse round aqui, da Morningstar, Republic, Arrington e tal, eu entrei nesse round, tá? E aí, realmente, eu tenho um preço bem baratinho, na real, desse round aqui, tá bom? Mas é isso, gente. Eu quero agradecer mais uma vez a todos vocês. Ó, tem aqui a Moon Spreadsheet. Ó. Se o token sair a 15 cents, né, ele tá saindo a 1x, a 30 cents 2x e por aí vai. Tem aqui 75 cents. Nossa, bater 75 cents eu choro de alegria. Tá bom? Mas é isso, gente. Muito obrigado mais uma vez. Tá? Opa, peraí. Abro mão do meu prêmio. Obrigado. Como assim? Vou sortear outra coisa? Não, aí a gente vê. Aí a gente vê. Vamos fazer o seguinte. Olha só. Eu vou dar 15 segundos para todo mundo se preparar, tá bom? Abre a página da coinlist.co/ZkLink agora. Abre, tá bom? E aí você vai voltar e eu vou fazer uma pergunta daqui a 1 minuto. Você vai ler isso aqui, essa informação, eu vou mandar 1 minuto. Tá bom? Aí, quando vocês finalizarem... Então, agora vai ser na velocidade. Tá bom? Vai ser na velocidade. Vamos lá, deixa eu pegar aqui. Vamos lá, hein? A minha pergunta, ó, aí tem mais coisa para baixo. Mais coisa para baixo. Já sei, eu vou ser mais bonzinho com vocês. É para ler essa tabela aqui. Bom, essa tabela aqui que você tem que ler. Olha só. Eu, Terra Nova, tá? Eu, o Terra Nova, investi na ZkLink, tá? Investi na ZkLink. O meu round de investimento tem um tempo de cliff, tá? De lockup, vamos chamar assim. Sendo que a venda da CoinList, né, ela não tem. O que é lockup? É o tempo que eu fico sem receber token, tá bom? Então, olha só. Eu entrei no round seed. Quanto tempo vocês têm até eu receber meu token? Primeiro que responder. Quanto tempo, depois que vocês receberam o token de vocês, eu recebo o meu? Eu começo a receber o meu. Eu tô no round seed, hein? Round seed, hein? Ike de Fênix. Eu tô no round seed, eu não tô no pré-seed. Eu tô no round seed. Ike de Fênix, trader. Você... Caralho. O Ike. Galera, Ike, manda mensagem pro Anonymous lá. Fala que é teu. Então, galera, foi justo. Foi justo. Tivemos tempo, todo mundo aí viu. Eu falei qual era a tabelinha. Tá? Ó. Eu falei, inclusive, qual era a tabelinha. Acho que tá tudo certo. Se deu bem, né? Se deu bem. Seguinte, nas próximas eu vou tentar fazer umas mecânicas melhores para que todo mundo, quem não tá no trabalho agora e tal, consiga pegar essa parada, tá bom? Mas eu não lancei técnica de ilusão. Eu lancei a técnica do presta atenção. Presta atenção. Sabe por quê? Se você não presta atenção aqui, você espera 5 meses achando que eu vou receber o token em 5 meses. Quando chega no 4º mês, de repente, do nada, o preço cai e você fala, por que está caindo? É porque eu e mais uma tonelada de pessoas recebemos nossos tokens. Entendeu? E aí o preço cai. Então, qual que é o macete? Aí, cara, eu sei. Aí que tá, né? Eu quero que suba o preço, mas eu também quero ajudar vocês. O que vocês fazem? 3 meses e 29 dias, você pode. Não estou garantindo que vai acontecer, tá? Você pode vender o token, esperar a queda, recomprar o token mais barato e pronto. Na hora que ele voltar para o preço que estava, você tem mais token do que antes. Isso é um trade que eu fiz muito na minha vida com muito projeto, tá? Não funciona tão bem para token unlock de projeto muito, muito grande, tipo optimismo, coisas assim. Porque os caras têm essa liquidez já para segurar essa galera, entendeu? Ensino noob. Desculpa, cara. Desculpa, brother. Você tá no celular, você não viu a tabela. Eu entendo, eu entendo. Não não é para sacanear ninguém, não. Tá bom? Ó, vocês vão receber 30% no TGE, que é o Token Generation Event, tá bom? E depois 9 meses de vesting linear. Essa aqui é realmente a tabelinha de como vai ser o vesting dos tokens. Então, vocês estão vendo aqui, ó, que os tokens pra gente, ó, só começam a aparecer aqui no 3º mês. Aí vai, e vai aumentando. Tá vendo como aumenta? De repente, o tamanho do token. Olha de vocês aqui, ó. Começa aqui e fica seguindo aqui. Né? Já tá aqui no mês 11, o bagulho já segurou praticamente. O nosso, ó, vai só aumentando com o tempo. Então, assim, os tokens vão sendo liberados. Tá bom? Então é isso, gente. Muito obrigado, tá, por vocês comparecerem aqui hoje. Eu fico muito feliz pela presença de todo mundo. No dia para entrar na fila vai estar com a gente. Cara, eu posso estar, eu tenho que ver, porque como eu não me inscrevi para deixar todo mundo entrar, eu não vou participar da fila, né? Mas eu já mostrei aqui no meu YouTube. Deixa eu pegar aqui. Tem um macete, tá, da fila, inclusive, no meu YouTube. Fala Terra Nova. Ó, você vai pegar, você vai abrir aqui o meu canal, tá bom? Você vai aqui no ao vivo. Eu tenho 2 lives, tá vendo? Porque aqui, ó, como participar da Public Sale e Public Sale da ZkLink. Essas 2 lives, elas são complementares. Uma tem 17, outra tem 15 minutos. É porque simplesmente caiu no meio, tá bom? Mas aqui eu mostro o macete, tá? Eu mostro um macete para você entrar no sisteminha de fila da CoinList e tentar ganhar uma boa posição, porque os caras já falaram, tem gente pra caralho nessa fila, tá bom? Então vai ver esses 2 vídeos aqui, tá bom? Porque vale a pena, e aí você vai ter realmente ali um guiazinho, tá? Vai ter um guiazinho. Vi umas 2 vezes, né? Então tu já sabe, tu vai pegar um monte de parada e vai abrir. E aí, mas não é qualquer coisa. Você vai entender. Assiste o vídeo. Eu quero que vocês assistam o vídeo. Não vou soltar um macete aqui. Assiste lá, me dá uma moral, tá bom? Obrigado, gente, mais uma vez. Boa noite a todo mundo. Tá? Agora eu vou deixar vocês em paz de verdade. Eu sou muito prolixo. Então, um beijo aí na bundinha de vocês.